I mean, is anybody really surprised? Nobody is surprised. So obviously, this happened. It's been a long time. I was good this year with Book Outlet, and I kind of knew that I was gonna go ham on the Black Friday sale, and I did. So this was the order that I placed on Black Friday. Or no, even actually the day before Black Friday, or 2 days before. Whenever their sale went live, like they had an early access thing, I was one of those people who broke the site like the second that the sale went live for this order. And what I did on this order is I happened to be in a very fantasy mood when I placed this order, and then a day or two went by and their sale was still going on, and I was like, oh my gosh, what happens when I get this order and maybe I'm not in the mood to read fantasy? So then this box happened, because this is kind of everything else that I could potentially be in the mood for. So this is maybe like contemporary. I don't remember everything I ordered. I know this one is pretty fantasy heavy and this one is pretty contemporary fiction heavy. So maybe I'll go back and forth. I'll open both boxes and I'll go back and forth. It'll be a fun time. Let's get into this haul, because this is gonna be a doozy of a video. So I got my first box like a long time ago. Like, it was one of the first shipping days that they did for their Black Friday sale, and I was waiting to film this video to open it, but this box just showed up today. When you're seeing this yesterday. Like, it took a long time to get this order. Should I go back and forth? I'm gonna go back and forth. We're gonna mix things up. I'm gonna open both boxes because I just want to look at everything at the same time. I have no patience with this. So, box number one, we will put over here. This one, we shall slicety-slice open. Okay. I'm so excited. I've been waiting so long for this. How long has it been since Black Friday? A couple weeks? That long. That's how long I've been waiting. So let's get all the boring stuff out of the way. We got paper. Oh man. I forgot about a lot of these books. Okay, so here we go. I'm gonna get situated real quick. I'm gonna switch these around. I don't know what I'm doing. We're gonna figure it out as we go. Okay, we'll keep the short, fluffy books on this side so you guys can see the box. You guys can like already see the books. You can, well, okay, whatever. We'll figure it out. So fantasy on this side, fiction on this side, and possibly other things. We'll see as we go. I don't remember ordering that. What's that? I'm gonna start with fantasy because that's the bigger box and I got more of it to show you. First book that is on top. What is this? I don't remember ordering this at all. We're off to a smashing start. This is Riddle Master by, this is by Patricia A. McKillop. I just read The Forgotten Beasts of Eld and fell in love with her writing, and McKillop is kind of like a rock star in the fantasy land. Like, she has won all of the fantasy awards, and this is a bind up of 3 books. This is a complete trilogy, a special collector's edition. Oh, that's fun. So this is the Riddle Master trilogy. What are the books that are in this? The Riddle Master of Head? I don't know what that is. But either way, I fell in love with her writing, and I think I picked up a couple books by her. This being one of them, because I figured it was a bind-up, so why not? The next book that I picked up is the 3rd Queens of Renthia book by Sarah Beth Durst. This is The Queen of Sorrow. I like this cover a lot. I just recently read the first one of it, and I love this story. I love this world. It's so unique, and it's so different from other fantasy that I've read. I'm really digging it, and they had the 3rd book on there. I already have the first 2, so this is just gonna go right on the shelf with them, and it's gonna match, and it's gonna be amazing. So moving into this box. Oh, yeah, I totally do remember ordering this. So this is Committed by Elizabeth Gilbert. Little known fact about me, I love Elizabeth Gilbert. So Elizabeth Gilbert wrote Eat, Pray, Love, and as trendy as that book got, I loved Eat, Pray, Love. It was so, like, spiritual and enjoyable to read, and then I started reading her other books, which I believe are in this order, now that I'm thinking about it. I won't spoil the other books, but this is one of her books that I have not read, and I think this is one of her first ones. This might be her first book, and I think this is actually like a modern contemporary fiction story, which I'm excited because the last one I read was not that. Okay, the next book I got in here, oh, I'm excited about this. I actually just almost ordered this like full price. Good job, me, for thinking ahead. So this is What Should Be Wild by Julia Fine. This is a book that has intrigued me for a very long time. First of all, that cover is stunning. Second of all, this totally sounds like my type of book. So this, when I first read it, it gave me Shatter Me vibes because it follows a woman who has never known the feel of human flesh because she has the power to kill or resurrect at her touch. Okay, so that's a story that's been done. What is interesting about this, I think, is going to be the atmosphere and the setting. So it's following her, who is the daughter of an anthropologist who sees her kind of as an experiment and tells her to never go into the woods. Because there's like local legend of men disappearing in the woods and never coming back, but that legend is like preceded by the fact that all of the women in her family for generations have disappeared into the woods and never came back. So it sounds like it's going to be like a primal magic. I'm so excited for this. I have been wanting to read this since I found out about it like in the summertime. So I was so excited to find this on Book Outlet for like $3. Yes. Going into here, you guys probably know what book this is. This is a Christina Lauren book. I love Christina Lauren. Their writing is so fun. This is Love in Other Words. I basically just grab their books whenever I see them because their books are just so easy to read. So I keep them on stock for when I'm feeling slumpy. I couldn't even tell you what this is, but it's going to be new adult. It's going to be love oriented. And it's going to be fun. It's going to be a good time. We're digging in the fantasy box, and this is not a fantasy book, but it is a book that I have wanted to own forever. I'm a huge fan of Minnie McGinnis. I've read, oh God, what's happening? What happened to this page? Okay, everything's fine. Everything's fine. It's just got a weird little tear in it. It's cool. It's fine. Everything's fine. Anyway, this is a book of Minnie McGinnis's that I don't own, and I've already read this. I love it. I love all of her books. She can cover all genres and do no wrong. So this is just one that I want to have in my collection of her books. So it's The Female of the Species. It came out last year, I believe. Was this last year or 2 years ago? I want to say last year. This is a hard hitter contemporary. Like, this packs a punch, and it deals with some like heavy subject matter. But it was so good. This is one of those like empowering female books. Oh, it was good. I like this one. Righty, the first one that I'm seeing is Leiria by Garth Nix, which means I need to dig in this box real quick because hang on. So I just rummaged through. These were all over the place. So I got pretty much, I think, the first 4 Sabriel books. So I read Sabriel a long time ago. Like, I actually think I still have the original cover floating around somewhere in storage. But I think I was way too young. I read this when I was like 10-ish, and I didn't appreciate fantasy at that point. So they have recently re-released these with new covers that are okay. I don't know. I don't have feelings about these covers one way or the other. But I was intrigued because we had, hold on. I forget what order these go in. Bear with me. I don't remember what order these go in. Basically, I got the trilogy plus 1. It was a trilogy, and it finished like a long time ago, and then Garth Nix was like, I'm gonna come back to this world and continue it. So I was intrigued because I never read beyond the first book, and I've heard mixed things about the continuation of the series, but I've heard mostly good stuff from book 5 on. I think book 5 is the last one that's out. So I have Sabriel, Clariel, Leiria, and Abhorsen, which I mean, these covers are, I'm just staring in the viewfinder. These covers are all right. Okay, digging in. Oh, okay, so here we go. I also picked up Eat, Pray, Love by Elizabeth Gilbert. Spoiler, there's another Elizabeth Gilbert book somewhere in here. I basically reached a point where I actually kind of want to reread this and see if it still holds as much like meaning now as it did when it was really popular a couple of years ago. And again, like I said, I love her writing. It's so good. It's enjoyable. So when I see it for like $1 on a site, I'm gonna buy it. Going into the left box, we have, Are Kind of Cruelty by Araminta Hall. Araminta Hall. This was a book of the month pick that I missed out on. I don't know what happened that month, but I didn't get a box that month because this definitely would have been a book that I would have included. This sounds dark and kinky, and you know, sometimes you gotta get down with that. I believe this is following a guy who is like in love with a woman and kind of tries to be the ideal boyfriend for him, and she just doesn't want anything to do with him, and she's marrying another person, and he's just not accepting that. But he thinks it's all just part of the secret game that they play. We're getting a little stalkery up in here, but I've heard really good things about this. I hear that it kind of deals with some BDSM. Your girl can get down with that. So this was a book that I've actually really wanted to read just in general, and this is a very new release. I think this came out in like September or October. Like, it was not that long ago that I saw this in Book of the Month, and it's already on Book Outlet, and I got it, and I was so excited. Alrighty, moving into some fluff, because that's a little dark. We'll get some fluff in here. Oh, this is for sure fluffy. This is The Simplicity of Cider by Amy E. Reichert. I always want to pick this up in the fall time. This looks like such a perfect fall read. Like, all of the apple orchard feelings that you get during fall. I couldn't tell you much about this other than I've seen really good reviews for it, and it has the fall atmosphere. It's set at an apple orchard. Sounds great. That's all that I know. I'm gonna be very vague with my descriptions because I just kind of bought things. Oh my god, this book is huge. Why did I buy this? Shayna, you'll be excited to see that I got this. So, this is Firebrand by Kristen Britton. This is book something 6 of the Green Rider series. This is a series that a lot of people have actually told me that I will love because I am looking to get more into high fantasy, and everybody knows that I like horses, and I think this features horses a lot considering that it's called the Green Rider series. I now own books 2 through 6 and not number 1. So if you guys know where I can get number 1 for cheap in hardcover, let me know. This was on Book Outlet, which is a rare thing to see Kristen Britton books on Book Outlet, so into the cart it went. Alrighty. Ooh, I'm excited that I bought this. I got Chocolat by Joanne Harris. This is the book that the movie Chocolat is based on, which is one of my favorite movies of all time. Like, Johnny Depp, yes, that movie is gold. It deals with chocolate, it deals with romance with Johnny Depp, like, that movie is amazing. So this is the book that it's based on, and I've never read it. And I was like, I should read it, so I bought it. The next book is another Patricia A. McKillip book. So this is the Bards of Bone Plain. And I bought this partially because I was buying McKillip books when I see them because her writing is just beautiful. But also, look at this cover. Like, how could you not? Oh my god, look at the... Hold on. It wraps all the way around. I am so glad that I bought this. Look how freaking stunning this is. Look at that lady at her cauldron. You strum those harps. Oh, there's like a little dragon down. Okay. This book is stunning. I'm so glad that I bought it. Okay, the last Elizabeth Gilbert book that I got is The Signature of All Things. I read this a long time ago, probably 3 or 4 years ago, and I loved it. This is the first book that I ever read of historical fiction that I genuinely loved. Not much happens in it, but this follows stuff that is so interesting to me. This follows a woman who is kind of rivaling the discoveries of evolution alongside Charles Darwin. It's amazing. She studies botany and plants. Like, she comes up with the theory of evolution based on moss. Things, I know this sounds really dry to a lot of people, but stuff like that is super interesting to me, and I just love this. It follows, like, her life and everything that happens from, like, her childhood until death, basically. But it was just so interesting, and I think it's just in part to her writing. That's why I've been buying her books, because so far she came out with Eat, Pray, Love, which is kind of like an autobiographical, almost nonfiction self-help type story. Like, it's a novel, but it's definitely a self-help inspirational type of story. And then she came out with like historical fiction that has a lot of science behind it. Her writing is great. Okay, end of story. Move on. Dipping back into the fantasy. Okay, so The Last Unicorn by Peter S. Beagle, like the dog, I guess. This is kind of a staple to have in a fantasy collection. This is an older, much older high fantasy story that is kind of one of the things where, like, if you're a fantasy reader, you've read this, or you should have read this. It's one of those type of books. So I was already gonna read it, first of all, because unicorn. I need that in my life. But then it was blurbed by Patrick Rothfuss, who wrote The Name of the Wind. On the cover, it says, "The Last Unicorn is the best book I've ever read. You need to read it. If you've already read it, you need to read it again." Told by, like, possibly one of the best fantasy authors in our modern time, I'm sold. I will read this. Thank you, Mr. Rothfuss. Then I picked up some new adult. I got He Will Be My Ruin by K.A. Tucker because I love me some K.A. Tucker. I recently read The Simple Wild by her this year, and it was my favorite romance of 2018. So I'm kind of backtracking through her backlist of books and reading through them, and from what I hear, this is a lot of people's favorite one by her. And I have a feeling it's going to be dark, considering that it's called He Will Be My Ruin. Things are going to get dark up in here. Oh right, I forgot that I ordered these. This was prior to the drama, but, you know, sometimes things work out well. So I'm not going to delve into the tea surrounding this author and another author that is currently going on, but I did decide to start picking up some Nora Roberts books. So, I have been recommended a bunch of books by her, and she has literally been writing for like decades at this point, and I just had it in my head that this was like grandma books. Partially because my grandma reads Nora Roberts, so I always associated her books with like old lady romances. which she does indeed write, but she also writes everything. And I've been recommended a lot of her books recently because I like things set in Ireland, and she also writes about horses a lot, and as a fellow horse person, I appreciate that. So, Irish Thoroughbred. I don't know anything about this, but I will read it because Irish and Thoroughbred. Two buzzwords for me that will make me pick up a book. Got this. I also got some other Nora Roberts in this box that I can already see. I'm pretty excited. Oh, this is adorable. Look at this cover. This fits in with like Emma Mills books. This is The Garden of Small Beginnings by Abby Waxman. And this just sounded really good. This follows a single mother who is kind of dealing with some issues, but she is a textbook illustrator. Like, she makes the illustrations that go into textbooks, and she ends up becoming the chosen illustrator for a gardening class's textbook. So she ends up having to join this class, and she meets a lot of people in this class that she finally starts to connect with and helps her with her grief and her own personal issues, while at the same time exploring illustration and art and gardening, all of the things that I like reading about. Like I said, this box was just full of like comfort books for me, so things that just sounded lovely and endearing, I added to this cart. So I picked this up. Look at that cover. Doesn't that remind you of like Emma Mills's covers? Just a lot of rainbow color, abstract things. I love it. It's adorable. All right, I did pick this up. I have the third Merciless book by Daniel Vega. Again, this is a series that has been recommended to me so many times. I have not read it, but I have steadily been collecting them so that I can binge right through it. So I have books 1 through 3. I always like their covers because they don't have a dust jacket like they're a hardcover, but they are naked. Ooh, look at that. And they're all like crazy colors. Like the first one's hot pink, and then I think it was like gold. They're somewhere on my shelf. I think they're gold. This one is like holographic. I'm digging it. I've just been buying these on a whim. It's been happening. Ooh, I forgot about this. Okay, so this is not a book that I normally would have bought for myself. This is The City Baker's Guide to Country Living by Louise Miller. And first of all, it just looks adorable because we got an old farm truck with a Christmas tree driving down a snowy lane. So this is going to be atmospheric for this time of year. I mainly bought this to read at Christmas time, but the little blurb right here from Bon Appetit magazine says, super cozy, okay, it's Gilmore Girls. I needed it. From what I hear, this is just a very cozy small town setting that has like quirky, snarky dialogue similar to Gilmore Girls. This is everything that I want in a book right now. Alrighty, we're getting into the last set of books. So, like I said, I have more Nora Roberts coming at you. Ooh, these all match and they look amazing. I was expecting these to be like mass markets. Hold on, I'm trying to order them. So, I have, what is this called? The Cousins O'Dwyer trilogy. So, book 1 is Dark Witch, book 2 is Shadow Spell. I love this cover. I think this is the reason that I bought it. And then book 3 is Blood Magic. Spelled with a K. Thank you. Thank you for doing that. But I believe that this is, correct me if I'm wrong, there's nothing on the back except a picture of the author. Hold on. Ooh, this is one of those French covers that's real fancy and has a thing on the inside. I love it. This, I think, is one of those series that has been recommended to me a lot because it's set in Ireland, and I read everything set in Ireland because I want to live in Ireland. But this, I couldn't tell you much, except this has been recommended to me a lot, and they had all 3 of them on the site. And look at those. I was expecting these to be mass markets, and these are like gorgeous, tall, like paperbacks that look, they look nice. Okay, and the last book that I have to show you is one that I forgot that I ordered, is The Bookshop on the Corner by Jenny Colgan. This sounds super precious. So this is following Nina, who is a woman who works as a librarian, and she takes her job very seriously as a literary matchmaker. She thinks that she can find the perfect book to match with every person that she meets. And then she loses her job, and she is determined to make a new life for herself. So she moves to a sleepy village many miles away, and she ends up buying a van and transforming it into a mobile bookstore. It sounds so cute. No wonder I added this to my cart. That is going to be it for this haul. I hope you guys enjoyed. This was actually, I think, one of my first book outlet hauls that I had almost no YA in it. I have basically gone through their entire catalog. I constantly check to see what they get, but I generally already own all of the YA that they have on there that I might be remotely interested in. It's on my shelf already. So Book Outlet is starting to broaden my horizons. I'm actually starting to seek out very different things, and almost all of this is adult fantasy or adult fiction. And I'm kind of excited about that. It's a change in my life. We're in a new chapter. So that's gonna be it for this. I hope you guys enjoyed my haul, or living vicariously through my obscene book spending, book purchasing, book accumulating. It's what I do here. So if you'd like to see another one of these coming up soon, because I indeed have another Book Outlet order on the way, hit the subscribe button, because it'll be coming very shortly, and I will see you guys in my next video.